This could all go horribly wrong at any minute. Welcome to the 167th edition of Lewis Black's Rantcast, entitled Busted Bridge, Busted Brackets. And the bridge in Baltimore, I'm not equating it with my brackets, which went to hell. Certainly not. What occurred in Baltimore is a tragedy. What occurred to me is ludicrous, because I'm inept at picking or paying attention or having any sense of how to really figure out, after watching basketball for years and paying attention all year to the sport. But that isn't really as important as what happened in Baltimore this week. That's for sure. I'm not an idiot, but I thought it was kind of poetic and had a symmetry to it. From the very, very yin or yang to the yin, whatever. Just put it this way. Simply, what happened in Baltimore is an epic tragedy and beyond belief, really, that the cargo ship, collided into the bridge. The bridge went down as you watched it in a second, and really is the tenuousness of life. Do we need any more of this type of lessons from the Lord himself, if that's who's handing them out? And, happy Easter. And the only reason I say that is it would be nice if Jesus had chosen to come back today and help us out in Baltimore, because I don't know how long it's going to take. And we seem to be going, well, we don't know. It's going to take a long time. I make it an emergency. Make it as important as anything else that goes on here. I mean, we futz around. These people get hit by a storm and their fucking lives are destroyed, and we trundle on in and we kind of get it back together. This is, once again, vital to the economy, vital in terms of the supply chain. I'm saddened by the fact that it's where I came from. It's my state. It's the great state of Maryland. And my parents lived literally just outside of Baltimore. It's the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and kind of ludicrously on NBC this week, as they were talking about it on the end of the news program, they were playing the Star Spangled Banner in the background because Francis Scott. I mean, it's just, come on, guys. It's got nothing to do with it. It isn't like they went, oh boy, this would be a great thing to name after Francis Scott Key. When he comes back, he's going to be thrilled. I don't understand why we don't focus and say we have to deal with this like they did in Pennsylvania. The governor said, okay, we got to get this done. Bring in everything that we have at our disposal to clear out that shit and to begin building a bridge or figuring out another way to do it without it being a possible place that a ship can run into. And if you're going to do this, how do you have something that important and we don't have tugboats helping them out? At least one, so that that when it began to be a problem, that the tug could have helped out. Apparently, that's what I read. I don't know anything. I don't get anything anymore. I don't understand anything. But it seems to me you're putting it all up to the equipment on that boat, and it futzed, and it went on a glitch, and then the rest is tragedies. 6 immigrants. It was 6. There were 8, I think, on there. Two survived. 6 and immigrants, because it was late at night. It's after 1 a.m. It was probably because they're the only ones who wanted to do it. We don't. The rest of us who are here don't appear to have that type of a work ethic anymore. You wouldn't have found me on that bridge, and I'm the first one to tell you I'm inept. But I did work all-night shifts for the post office, and I got the mail there on time. Hello, one and all, and boy, I would love to really put up my tour dates here on the signage that God has provided for me, and certainly it's getting larger every day, but I'm just going to shout it out. And I know you've been wondering, what should I be doing? You're saying to yourselves on April 19th. Well, come on to Chattanooga, all right? Where I'll be performing at the Walker Theater, or on April 20th, you can roll on down to back Nashville, Tennessee. I will be at the James K. Polk Theater at the Tennessee Performing Arts Center, followed by April 21st at the Buckhead Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. I will stay on the bus, roll out to the Midwest April 25th to Iowa City, Iowa. I will be performing at the Angler Theater, followed by April 26th in Prior Lake, Minnesota, at the Showroom at Mystic Lake Casino. That's just outside of Minneapolis. And April 27th in La Crosse, Wisconsin, at the Bitterbow University, the Fine Arts Center there. Bitterbow University, the Fine Arts Center there. You can find all of this on lewisblack.com. And hoping again, once to shout out to Europe, I'll be performing in May in Amsterdam, Belgium, London, on to Berlin, Stockholm. And, you can check those dates out too at lewisblack.com. Back in a moment with what? Oh, the Rantcast. Almost forgot. Woo. I am digressing because this is all madness to me. That we don't deal with the problem that we have that stares us in the face, and we make it an emergency. I don't know. We'll trundle along, and then we'll have to sign contracts, and what are we going to pay? It shouldn't be a matter. It should be, let's all get together. Let's, have a tax for that one, whatever it is. Everybody throw in $10. $10. We got a fucking election where they're asking me for money every day. Okay? Everybody throws in $10. Let's see, would that help? Could we get it done? And then maybe at the end of the year, ask for $10 more. We should be able to get cranes, and they're bringing them in now. They got 2 of them. Get as many as you can get and get it done. And build a bridge that somebody can't bump into. Fucking bump. God damn it. And then to have an idiot show up in Utah, it turns out, he's yelling about, it was the diversity on the Board of Commissioners. Points out that there's a black woman on there and she's inept and she shouldn't be involved because she's only there because of diversity. Stop it. Just fucking stop it. While you're screaming probably about immigrants at the same time. God, it's lunacy. Just fucking lunacy. We had a moment at like 7 a.m. or whatever it was when America wakes up, wherever you are at 7, and turns the news on and goes, holy fuck, look at what happened there. And for one brief moment, we're united by tragedy, because that's the only thing that seems to bring us together, is something that affects all of us. And we don't have time to go, how do we feel politically? I'm surprised that we haven't heard that it was Nancy Pelosi driving the boat, or President Biden was driving the boat, that Pete Buttigieg basically had been on the boat and put some gum down underneath the desk, and that was transferred by someone who saw the gum and mishandled it, and it ended up gluing up the steering column. Who knows? But I'm surprised they didn't come up. There was, because they do. I mean, this conspiracy shit is lunacy, and that everybody on the boat had COVID, that the captain of the boat had COVID, that they were carrying so many vaccines on board that was the reason. Because when you get that many, there's a kind of a tipping point when you have that much vaccine in one place, that everyone is immediately goes into a blank space and forgets how to do their daily job, and that's why the boat went into it, that they were zombies and they were all dead, and woke up and came back. And why wouldn't Jesus return just today? And did he really return? It sure seems to be a happy time out there on the streets of New York. And I wish you all a happy Easter, for those of you who do celebrate it. And I don't quite get it. I've never have, but if he comes back, I hope I really hope he comes back and just sits Donald Trump down for a little discussion of the fact that he shouldn't be selling fucking Bibles. That's an extraordinary moment in time. It's all there. It's right there on video. They're going to watch that. So I think, they were watching it already. I'm watching it that's satire. That is the definition of satire. Former president of the United States has absolutely no religious values whatsoever, selling a Bible at $60 a pop. And people are wondering where the money's going to go. It's not difficult. It's not going to help the poor or any of the other places that Jesus might have wanted to see that money go. No, it's going to help him out. And it's published with a copy of the Constitution, I believe, in the Bill of Rights. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? We're going to, they are pushing for a Christian autocracy or whatever, a Christian autocracy. I don't know. I'm just, come on already. He's there. He's running for the president and says that we're not reading the Bible enough. That's our problem as a people. Really? You haven't read it. Or you wouldn't, it's the shit that comes out of your mouth from time to time. Okay? Like grabbing pussy. For starters, wouldn't even be coming out of your mouth. All right? If you truly read the Bible, believed it's why it's satire. Of all the people holding the Bible, if it had gone up in flames, one more touch, it would have been great. Then we would have known, it is satire, or that God is really watching. Because if God's watching, boy, I really need a reason for what the fuck is happening now. And I'm wearing the Vonnegut T-shirt. Is my friend and my former opener, John Bowman, used to say almost time and again for the last 7 or 8 years, it was that Kurt Vonnegut is the one up in heaven. He's writing that God said, you write the script now. And so that's what we've been living in, a Vonnegut world. And I'll talk about that later. Not the world, but I wanted to talk about the museum and library. And then, there are my brackets, which don't really matter in the light of that, of the human tragedy that took place. But, it was that diversion and that joy of the diversion. And it was whoever it seems that I picked. I thought I had a pretty good grasp of this shit. I really did. Put a lot of time and energy and effort. I love watching basketball. I watched a whole lot more, and I misread everything. And teams that I didn't expect to do the job did the job. And apparently, it's the teams that I had picked, and I finally accepted the fact that my brackets were shot and that I picked UNC like an idiot, even though I had to pick them because rooting for somebody else to beat them would have been too much. But I at least figured but I didn't believe they'd make it. I didn't think they really would be the champions. And there I go, I pick them. Well, that's I'm going to have to learn that for next year. Nope. But I think they'll be back, hopefully. They gave it a run, and they blew it. For all intents and purposes, I think they really should have won that game. And we'll see where Alabama goes. And Duluth, Alabama. That hurts. It always hurts. Alabama, who, speaking of diversity, the University of Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, Birmingham, these schools have just, the state has decided they can't have diversity programs. They're not putting money into it anymore. The governor of the state, who looks as actually is really Mrs. Butterworth, and was won by a landslide, apparently. So tasty. Makes such a tasty syrup, Mrs. Butterworth. They said, let's make her the governor. And so she signed a bill that said that there'd be no diversity programming now anymore because it was really creating a kind of people where it was radicalizing the student body. You fucking idiots. It's called giving those folks who are diverse, because we are diverse, and you can say we're not diverse, and you can try to say that as much as you want, but we are. And they're folks of all sorts of persuasions, all right? And you take you know, you can do it by race, you can do it by culture. They need to have money put into programming, and especially to provide them a place in which they can go to deal with the problems that are unique to their culture. Because as much as we like to think that we're all going home to, after a hard day's work to White Village, we're not. And we all deal with all sorts of different problems. And that's the way how diversity helps. And it literally, you can go online and go watch it. There was kid after kid after kid going, this is the reason I came to this school, was because I knew that they had this space that I could go into and they would be able to help me. Well, not anymore, not in Alabama. And they get to win. Son of a bitch. At least North Carolina still has a diversity program. I should probably have spoken too soon. Somebody will write me a thing, you fucking idiot. No. But I kind of believe they do. But I was just kind of stupid, getting back to it, that I chose them to win when I knew they weren't going to. I thought they'd at least get to 8. And then mifepristone, yes sirree, the extraordinary drug that is really the lifeline for many women around the country who are living in states where they can no longer get an abortion if they need one, or if they want one. And so the case went to the Supreme Court. There was the pushing of it. The reason it came through is they felt that the side effects of the drug were too much. That this was a drug that was somewhat dangerous. The power of the FDA, whatever. I got lost in it because I was listening to the Supreme Court, and I tell you, I couldn't be a lawyer. I would be screaming. I would be just shrieking from beginning to end. Shut the fuck up, asshole! What kind of a question is that? Are you an idiot? And I got to refer back to, I need to look at another case to tell you this is bullshit. And it's bullshit. Absolutely bullshit. Okay? It's a drug that's been used over and over and over and over and over again for years. And now they're worried about it. Okay? It's the way in which women who are trapped have a way out. And it's extraordinary that men are even fucking near this decision. I've said this before. I'll continue to repeat it. We have dumped the whole thing in terms of, birth and reproduction and everything else into the hands of women. We just said, we've made it their problem, and put them in that position. They're the ones who should be taking the birth control pill. They're the ones who should be, who should have the baby no matter what they think. Are you kidding me? They're worried about the side effects of this fucking drug and not worried about the side effects of a woman who needs and wants an abortion. And if she can't get it, they don't worry about those side effects. And they're watching them now over and over and over again. And they've got to get that shit straightened out because people are suffering. That's part of the reason we're not in the top 20 of happy countries, but we'll be talking about that in Rantcast 168. Stay tuned. And so really, I think that's all I got today. I'm going to be back, as soon as I can, because I'm trying to get both these Rantcasts done before I leave next week for the Luv Project. They have a golf tournament named after me. I've told you this. the Love You, if you go to LUV and then U Project, Love You Project, I believe it's .org. Take a look at what they're up to. I think it's really important now. It has to do with mental health, and if I need I need their help, as do many of us, because we have not recovered from this pandemic, and I believe that's part of the anger out there. I really do. I think that people are they feel as if, I mean, I know I do, that we, and I know that kids must, that there was a chunk of our lives ripped out, and that somehow these idiots think that the government would have made any difference, and it might have made a difference if he didn't tell us to, the $500 million now down to 175 hadn't been saying that we should hear the things, it's just going to go away, don't worry about it, and people yelling and screaming in after the fact what should have been done. And fuck you. And so I've got just one thing here I want to read. The journal Frontiers in Cell Development and Biology apologized for publishing a nonsensical study that included an AI-generated diagram of a rat with a penis more than twice the size of its body. How does that get published? Huh? Who's doing this? It's another level of satire. Frontiers in Cell Development and Biology. And they hand it over to AI? God. And this is after the talk about cell development and biology. They came up with that pig kidney, for crying out loud. What a joy that is. And hopefully that works. I'd like to see them get all of that pig. I'd love to see them developing all sorts of organs with that pig and with all of those pigs, so that I could not only eat the pig, stop it, Lewis, the people would be so upset, and I could just by eating the pig, that I would get new lungs and a new diaphragm, so I could yell louder, and my kidneys and maybe the gallbladder, everything. Just get it all done now. Hope so. I went away there for a moment, but I'm back. And it's the study Frontiers said lacked scientific rigor. Yeah, that's something. Yeah, that's tough. That really, the study Frontiers, the magazine itself said it, or whatever, the journal. How do you end up with a journal? Then I could publish my own science journal, and I guess why not? Everybody else seems to be, without any background, publishing a science journal based on what they read. Other people said that by some scientists who made shit up. It's just the beat goes on and the beat goes on and the beat goes on. Before I go, just to let you know that the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library is, here we go. That's a self-portrait he did. It's a great organization. I'm thrilled to be the chairman of the board. So take a moment out of your day if you can and look up the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library. Google it and go to our website. I think you'll find that we're a champion of dealing with we're a champion of the freedom of expression and the utter importance of not banning books. Okay, it's lunacy. We don't ban stuff off the outrageous shit that is coming onto the internet and onto our phones, and it's just being poured out of every kind of thing that we've got where there's a screen, and we don't do that except for television. There we do it, and nobody's watching it anymore. So we do it to a point. There's Fox and MSNBC who have a tendency to prattle on and just get a little hyperbolic, and that's that from here. And I really appreciate you spending time with me as always, and wishing you all once again a very happy Easter. Here's to a delightful spring ahead. Let's hope. Here's to at least a good week or a couple of days, maybe something without some sort of trauma occurring that'll allow us to actually breathe easy. But speaking of breathing easy, I hope that you enjoy the rants that came in this week, and they're getting better and better and better. And just a reminder, edit them, folks. If you don't send me 10 or 12 paragraphs, I know you want to get stuff off your chest, but edit it, and then around it, you edit, show me an edited version, and I'll read the whole version. But I'm not going to edit yours. That's up to you. I don't want to do it to you, and I'm not going to be your editor because they're your words, and I'm here to read them. Thank you for that privilege and the pleasure it gives me. It means the world to me. Here's something from Ted Cheever, and I'm really glad he shared it with us because I think it's an interesting take, and it's well written, well said. Living the dream. Hey, Lewis, for more years than I care to remember, I've heard of following your dreams, finding your path, living your best life, etc. Well, I'm all for that stuff, but there are some of us that never figure out how to do any of those things. I'm going to be 52 years old this year, and I've never been able to accomplish any of that business. I'm not sure when or how I lost my way, but I did. And it's all still a big fucking mystery to me. Nothing ever really grabbed at me or tugged on my soul, or however you want to phrase it. I would get interested in something and dive in head first, only to become bored and in search of a different thing, over and over. I once wanted to be a musician and actually was in a couple of bands that were quite popular locally in the city I live in. I say city, but what I should say is shithole. Having spent some time in Manhattan and Boston, I can assure you it isn't a city. It's a little shithole that somehow grew the balls and audacity to refer to itself as a city. But I digress. I still enjoy playing music, but I lost interest in doing it professionally, as I have any other thing I thought might be my path. Don't get me wrong, I'm not depressed or unhappy, and I'm perfectly content at this point in my life, as John Lennon said, to watch the wheels go round and round. Perhaps I'm just a bit envious of the folks that actually found their path, their dream, and managed to make a living of it. But as I reflect on this, I still find myself grateful that I got to experience this whole being alive on a rock in space thing, just whipping around a star 52 times, and hopefully a few more before the lights go out. It really has been quite a show, and I'm thankful that there are folks like you in the wheels for me to watch. Well, cheers, Lewis, and thanks again. No, thank you, Ted. I'd like to get it out to some of the younger folks out there who maybe or maybe not listening, Ted. But I think what you had to say was pretty important. I've always thought that everyone had something that they really wanted to do, something that they had a path that they wanted to follow, and for this reason or that reason. Like you had music, but eventually you said you didn't want to do it professionally. But I wonder if the music took you to other things that you did want to do, and because I think going for what it is that really grabs your soul is the place to start. And but the way in which you expressed the joy of just being here is really important, and a reminder to all of us. And for me to be sitting here saying this is unusual for the Rantcast, but it's true. Thank you, Ted Cheever. I appreciated it. Jackson Peters is ranting about something we hear ranted about always at this time of year. I mean, a lot of people rant about it, even while driving along, even while waiting for a bus, even whatever they're doing. It's always discussed at this time of year, and people are yelling about it. Thank you for this, Jackson. Hey, Lewis, I know this isn't unusual, but it makes my blood boil. Fucking day fuck light fuck saving time. DST STD. I'd rather book a flight to Hawaii where they don't do this, let's fuck with the clock bullshit and deal with the jet lag than change my damn clock. We were all told this was for the children. It's too dark for the kids getting on the school bus in the morning. If that were true, why would we push the clock forward an hour? Huh? 7 a.m., which has been light out the past few weeks, is now going to be dark again. So much for the children, huh? And to hear members of Congress like Rubio giggle fucking about making this shit permanent? Haven't we had enough crazy from the Florida man state? Huh? Some say, oh, well, you can make the switch easier by just moving things forward 15 minutes every day for 4 days prior to the switch. What kind of nonsense is that? What planet am I living on? Stop fucking with my clock, you bastards. What a bunch of bullshit. I'm about to have an aneurysm typing this. Ban this shit. Okay, Jackson, I don't think so. I don't think they will. Thank you. Thank you. Sue D is yelling about someone she shares the workplace with, and who hasn't? And then she has a change of heart, which is, I think, it's a spoiler. I was going to write a rant about my coworker, Mr. Petty Pants, who gets on my last nerve. I started giving myself a sticker each day that I didn't punch him. The other day, he irritated me so much that I wanted to rip his hat off his pseudo-hippie head and shove it in his mouth to stop his incessant, fermented flatulence. I wanted to write something anonymous, but the funniest things are very specific to him. So, mid-rage, waiting at the pharmacy, something unexpected and good happened. As I went to submit the copay for my maintenance inhaler, I got a surprise that my copay had dropped by $35. It was now $50. That's the lowest it's been in years. My anger evaporated. Thanks for everything. And thank you. Thank you, Sue D. I'm glad things turned around. I don't know why you didn't want me to read the rest of it. I certainly would have. It's pretty funny. But I will respect your wishes. Appreciate it. Thank you. Say hi to Mr. Petty Pants. Jeff Munson has a rant about something that bothers a lot of people, especially during an election year. Louis, a few days ago, or weeks, I lose track of time. Who doesn't, Jeff? There was a ranter who wanted to introduce term limits. This person wants the government to cut their own jobs. We already have term limits. They are called elections. How does a government body that often has less than a 50% approval rating, oftentimes much less than 50%? I'm not a math major, but don't you still need 51% of the vote to win an election? That would suggest to me that at each election, we should have a turnover. However, since the incumbents keep getting reelected, that would suggest we are all idiots. After all, if you aren't happy with your elected leaders, wouldn't you vote against them? Apparently not. So to those who want to change in your government, get out there and make it happen. Huh? Oh, wait, that would mean you might have to do some volunteer work to get your person elected. Sadly, there aren't enough people who care to change what they want changed. They only want to complain. Maybe that's why that ranter wanted a law to set term limits. Maybe they know that everyone is too lazy to make such a change. Personally, I'm a fan of watching the self-implosion that is about to occur. Here's to hoping I'm around in about 5 years. Thanks for letting me express myself. Sincerely, Jeff Munson. And thanks for expressing yourself, Jeff. An interesting take on that. And I think I agree with you that we won't be seeing either term limits or the people ready to change anything. It is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. John Pine is pissed. And I imagine there'll be some of you who may respond to this. But what do I know? I'm just reading them. This is in response to a Facebook post about how someone who supports one side of the political spectrum, claiming they won't support a system where teachers and firefighters, etc., pay more taxes than billionaires and corporations. I'm so sick of both sides saying crap like this. With some political cultist type mentality, they used to bash each other like pimply fifth grade playground warriors. And then both sides simply taking lobby money, campaign donations, and gifts from those same billionaires to pass favorable legislation for them and their corporations. Stop feigning at caring for the people and do something already, huh? Something besides being human shields for the wealthy. I don't even care who does it. Both sides are equally full of BS and have armies of thoughtless, sycophantic clowns willing to vote for and defend to the end, even while their families and neighbors' lives circle the drain like scrotum hair falling off an old man's balls. When are we going to wake up and stop voting for the same old crap over and over and over again? Here, folks. Here's the two biggest jackass morons we could find. Help us put one of them in office. This time, it will be different. Yeah, a different load of shit. Stop already. Do something or get your dumb asses out of the way. It's apparent after 50 plus years on this planet that it doesn't really matter who you vote for. Just look at the past 4 administrations. On paper, it looks okay. But out here, in the real world, it's not okay. You can keep lying to yourselves, but you all know it's true. That's why both sides do nothing but bitch about the other side. Get it yet? Well, John, maybe they will agree with you. We'll see. I'm sure each side thinks they're right. That's the way this has been working, hasn't it? I really appreciate that. And I know exactly where you're coming from. And it irritates the shit out of me. I'm tired of it. I am tired of it. Lori Jett is a woman who's enraged, and many women are nowadays. We all know why. My mother was always enraged, I think, from the moment of her birth. All right. Here we go, Lori. I'm sick to death of fake religious types taking away women's rights. I have an idea to fix one of the big issues. So they want to force women and children to have babies they either don't want, can't afford, or were raped into being? Well, how about this? Want to make sure all those babies are cared for from the moment of conception? Let's keep a federal DNA database of every single male in the country. I mean, as long as we are discarding basic human rights, check all of them. Take all the male DNA, okay, from every male born from now on. Then, whenever a female becomes pregnant, they can simply DNA test the baby and find the father, and child support can begin immediately. Seriously, they care so much about the children, especially the unborn children. Let's get right on this. Anytime there's a pregnancy, the moment it is medically feasible, grab that DNA and make that man pay. So what if it's a teenage boy who knocked up your teenage daughter? Guess what? His parents get to pay his child support until he is able to pay on his own. Being forced to birth your rapist child? Oh, don't worry. The government will pay that bill, and it starts from the moment of conception. Sure, you have to have that monster's baby, but at least you get a little money for 9 months until you can put the child up for adoption. Then the government can keep on paying until the magic rich people come take the rape baby and raise it with love and compassion. Don't you worry, all you moms out there being forced to carry fetuses that have no hope for meaningful life or life at all outside the womb. We'll add money for those babies to the law we pass for the DNA and child support, because that will make it right. If we keep paying for Viagra, we can pay for all of this. For the children. Wow, Lori. Well said. Well said. This won't be happening, but well said. You know, sure they'd be flipping out if you did that speech in Congress. Okay. The DNA base. Well done. Kim Foss it points out something that's important to point out, I believe. But then again, what do I know? But thank you, Kim. I'm always irritated that when a person or group does something wrong and or heinous, the news reports that they have taken responsibility for it. It seems like they whitewash the act, huh? You take responsibility for good acts, like caring for parents, children, and your house. When you do something wrong, you accept blame. You take the blame for hurting someone, setting fire to something, or stealing money. I would like the news to stop with the wordplay. Call it responsibility for good actions and blame for bad actions. Well, we have to deal with the news on so many levels, Kim, and you certainly pointed out another flaw in the idiocy of the information we receive. Deeply appreciated. Here's one from Anna Adams Butner. Hi, Lewis. My thoughts on politicians follow. I believe that all elected representatives should be paid minimum wage for time that is actually worked. Also, they shouldn't receive the fabulous health care benefits currently provided, and instead, they should have the same benefits the rest of us receive. My thoughts are this would guarantee that the positions would be filled by those who want to do the job, and minimum wage would be raised to an actual living wage. We should all make accepting gifts / money from special interest groups / lobbyists what it actually is: bribery. And if I may say, briber-fucking-ry. Anna, well done. Well said. Well spoken. Thank you. Thanks to all of you for listening to my Rantcast. If you have a rant you want to get off your chest, send it in to me at lewisblack.com/live. You can think of it as therapy, or whatever you want to think of it as. Just let it rip. And I want to thank the true stars of our show, the ranters, and the splendid rants they gave us. Lewis Black's Rantcast was created and hosted by me. Aha, Lewis Black. Our live rant audio was produced by James Salter. Our theme song by Chris Lane. Executive producer, Ben Brewer. Executive producers, Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly.